Hey, what is going on today? This is my fourth, gotta get that hair perfect, YouTube video, and it's the one that I've been waiting to do for a long time, and it's kind of the history of Spätburgunder is told through Fass Selections, I guess, because it's really one of those unexpected things in that I had no plans to sell German red wine before opening Fass Selections. It's not that I had anti-plans and I was like, I'm not going to not sell German red wine or German Spätburgunder or whatnot. It's just that wasn't in the business. I wanted to sell Riesling, and I wanted to sell Riesling for a fair price. Spätlese for under 30. That was kind of it. Me and my partner were just all about trying to sell Spätlese for under 30 because we believe that was the great intro wine to get people into Riesling. And that was the plan. But I went to Germany right before I opened Fass Selections. So this is like, I think the first offers were like February or March 2013, probably early March. I was in Germany, I think the summer of 2012, looking for estates and tasting and whatnot. And I went to my good buddies, Stefan Steinmetz in Braunberg, and it was going. Sven Enderle of Anderle and Mole was going to drive up with some wine for me to taste, and if I liked it, we were going to work together. And this is, I had tasted before Anderle and Mole an '08 Pinot Noir. I was tasting Advisor Kunstler. And there was a bottle there. I didn't care for it, I'll be honest. And it was just kind of drying and green. Maybe I saw like a little bit in it, but not really much, I'll be honest. But anyway, fast forward to this epic night at Steinmetz's. You know, anyone who's been there, I don't know if there are people in this video who have been there, but you know, you sit in the kitchen and there's just bottles upon bottles upon bottles. His mother cooks beautiful, filling, rich German food. And then you pass on one of the bedrooms because there's a bed and a breakfast. And I've had some crazy times around that kitchen table, I will tell you that. But this was definitely one of the top crazy times because Sven Anderle came. First of all, his t-shirt was awesome. You had to like double take when you looked at it. It said, it was just like a skate wine shirt. It said, terroirist, you know, terroirist. So if you look at it quickly, you think terrorist, you're like, oh my God. But no, it's terroirist, and it's got this cool image on it. I was like, I like this guy, and his giant red goatee, like down to here, crazy red hair, and just the nicest, like, menchiest guy ever. So he comes, he's got magnums of '09 and '10, Buntsandstein and Muschelkalk, the two single vineyard Pinots. And there was no liaison, I don't think. It was just the Grand Crus. And we opened those wines up, and I was like, OMFG, holy shit, this is like unbelievable. I was like blown away. I'm like, we're doing business. This is incredible. It was like a revelation to me how good these wines were. I couldn't believe it. They were German, but they had aspects of Burgundy. They had that aroma, you know, and up to this point, the German Pinot Noirs that I had were woody or green, were woody and green, yick. And generally few and far between and unexciting, and the reputation in my mind, and I was someone who knew German wine pretty well, was just green and woody, and no one knows what they're doing. But these wines were sick. They were head spinning. They were so lacy, and there was sweet fruit, and there was no obviously wood or anything. And it was just the essence of Pinot, and it kind of reminded me of what I refer to now as red Riesling, in that great German Pinot should be red Riesling. It should not be Burgundy. It should not be California. It should not be anything else except red Riesling. It needs to have the transparency and nimbleness and energy of Riesling. while also exhibiting, Pinot Noir character. And that is what these did. And they were just the 09s and 010s. If you can find them, which you can, but they're amazing. I drank more of those wines than any other wine that night, and I drank a lot. Sven Anderle wound up. I was staying in this top bedroom. There were too many people there, and Sven, we were drinking until 3 or 4 in the morning, and Sven wound up sleeping in his van in Stefan's parking lot, which I always find is a humorous little footnote to that story. And later on that trip, I also visited someone else. And his name was Henrik Moblitz. His name was Henrik Moblitz. I don't know why I said that twice, but anyway. And Henrik also made Pinot Noir. He came highly recommended. And this was a completely different experience. Because he lives in Freiburg, and his vineyards are around 25 minutes, 30 minutes outside Freiburg, which is in Baden. Freiburg's this kind of college-type town in Baden. I've stayed there a couple times. I don't stay there anymore. But, it's like a college city. It kind of reminds me of Heidelberg a little bit. Lots of students. Every other restaurant is an Italian restaurant. Very kind of hectic and crowded usually most of the time. It's okay. But anyway, so that's where Henrik lives, and Henrik is a scientist at Novartis, which is his day job, and at night he makes this Pinot Noir. And we tasted the 11s over a dinner of fresh pasta and heirloom tomato fresh pasta, which was absolutely stunning. The heirloom tomatoes were from his Kupfle vineyard. And the wines, again, stunning, drop dead, blown away. And I was just staggeringly speechless, like I am now, just thinking about that tasting. So I left Germany, and I knew I had Henrik Moblitz and Anderle & Moll to start my German portfolio, German red portfolio. I had no idea how these wines would sell. You need to understand that. I went into that German trip thinking German Pinot Noir sucks, and I went out of that German trip thinking German Pinot Noir can compete with Burgundy. And not just any Burgundy, high-end Burgundies. I was just thinking, wow. So I sent out some offers, and people laughed at me. Yes, they laughed at me. They're like, are you kidding me? German red wine? And this is from seasoned Riesling drinkers or Burgundy drinkers, whatnot, And I'm just just try the wine, man. Taste the wine. You guys have bought from me forever. Trust me. If I was wherever I was at before, I'd still be selling these wines. They're unbelievable. I totally believe in them. I started off with the 11s for each one. 11's not the best vintage. It was particularly problematic in Anderle & Moll, but there was still beauty in them. And the 11s from Moblitz were just stunning. He nailed that vintage, and they're probably drinking amazing now if anybody has them. And I could not give these wines away. It was unbelievable. It was just terrible, and I'm just taste them. And there's a long period between typing this email and sending it out, and then when people taste the wine. I'm on to the next thing, and that's in the way past for me. And I had no expectations, really. I thought this would fill a gap in the month. I could do one Pinot Noir for a month if it came to that, and that was being very optimistic. And whatever happens, But people started to taste the 2011 Liaison. We didn't sell any of the 2011 Grand Crus. Me and my partner just split a case of the Muschelkalk. That's all we were allocated, and it's better we just get it. And the Grand Crus were very good, but Sven even admits that he screwed up that vintage somehow. I don't know, some winemaking flaw. I don't really know what happened. But they were not the best wines, but you saw the magic. You tasted the magic. You smelled the magic. They were there, and people definitely were intrigued and confused, but they still didn't quite take off quite yet. People loved the Moblitz. They loved the Moblitz. And I was getting 1/13, and I still get 1/13 of all of Henrik's wines, which is like nothing, trust me. He makes such a small production because he's a nighttime winemaker. But Henrik's wines, they were a little more kind of Germany crossed with Oregon, but they still have that red Riesling freshness and nimbleness and all of the beauty and amazingness that you could possibly think. But the wines didn't take off because no matter what, and I increased, and I'll get to that. In order for a new category or region to take off, I find you have to have some sort of like universal acclaimed vintage that even the noobs want. Once the noobs are like, oh my God, I really got to get into this, 2000 Bordeaux, 82 Bordeaux, you need a vintage like that that's going to put a region on a map. And we finally had that in Germany with 2015 for Pinot Noir, which is, the greatest vintage for German Pinot since 1990, I would say. And the winemaking is so much better now. You have a whole generation that went to Geisenheim and they understand how to use oak now. They're not over oaking. I mean, there's definitely over oaking, believe me, but not in the Fass portfolio. That's not what I look for. I look for the red Riesling. But anyway, so we have these two producers. We're pushing them. We're outselling German Riesling to Pinot like 3-1, 4-1, 5-1. I mean, and it's crazy. But the 2012s of Anderlecht and Mollitz, that's when things started to change. People started to I started to get a little bit more of the Grand Crus, and I sold more of the Grand Crus and got them to more people for Anderlecht and Moll. Moblitz 12 was a even better vintage than 13 or 11 for him. 12 Liaison has started to pick up a little bit. I started to get little bits of these Anderlecht and Moll whites as well, these freakishly weird Muller-Thurgaus and whatnot. But it still was not a major thing at Fass Selections, But I started to notice that I was getting like a little stream of emails from people being like, this is amazing, blah, blah, blah. So then we moved on to the second tier of producers because we thought were very impressed by these wines, and we thought there could be a thing, because Pinot is one of those grapes that everyone's looking for Pinot, and the next value region, whatnot. There was a moment where people thought it was going to be New Zealand, and apparently there's still good ones. There's some good ones there. It's not my thing, and if you're looking for value Pinot Noir, when I'm saying value, let's just say under 30. Under 30 in California generally gets you sweet candied garbage. Under 30 in Burgundy gets you not much, I mean, at Fass Selections it gets you a lot, but in the general world, I don't even know what's going to get you Bourgogne Rouge anymore. I don't even know what the hell it gets you, to be honest, but I can guarantee you it's not going to be like first tier anything, or a second, third, fourth, or fifth tier. And then under 30 in what are other big Pinot places? I mean, under 30 in Germany from Fass Selections, yeah, I am pimping myself, whatever. Gets you ridiculous wine. Profound wine. Anderlecht and Moll Liaison. Torl. Salheimer Kalkstein. Spätburgunder. 3 Zierreitzens. Schulin to Schupsen, and my pronunciation, fuck it. And the Blauer Spätburgunder. You get like 3 different Später Vates. I mean, the list goes on for a long time. But so we wanted to move into Joseph Walter. We wanted to move into the second tier of Pinot Noir because there was a whole untapped pool. No one's going to Germany to be asking for Pinot Noir. No importers were. I was the only one, so I had this like untapped well of just amazingness. The third producer that I got was someone that very dear to my heart. One of my good friends is probably one of the top producers of German Pinot Noir, but I don't work with him. His name is Sebastian Ferst. I visit his estate every year when I go to Germany. And he's in Björkstadt, which is in Franken, which is, Franken is more famous for Silvaner, Riesling, very, very dry wines. But this little, enclave, Björkstadt, also near it is Klingenberg, is red wine country. And Sebastian Furst's father, Paul Furst, is made world famous. He made this amazing Pinot Noir in 1990 that kind of changed the game for German Pinot. And he's considered one of the founding fathers of German Pinot. Paul Furst, great guy. I've driven through the vineyards with him, tasted with him. I had 1990. He made it's a very good wine. And Sebastian has incredible terroir and incredible vineyards. You're talking St. Grafenberg, Schlossberg, Klingelberg, and then Hunsrück. And his wines are very expensive. I mean, he's like a god in Germany. There is no question. His new tasting room that he built maybe many years ago, 6, 7, or 8 years ago, is just like one of the sickest tasting rooms you'll ever taste it in Germany. It's just got this amazing view of the whole village. He's on top of the hill. The vineyard's right outside the window. And the wines are amazing, and they need time. He's trained in Burgundy. He loves Burgundy. He loves wine. And he drinks all types of wine from everywhere. But when I was opening my company after visiting him 7 or 8 times, he was the guy who recommended Paul Weltner to me. First of all, we had great white wines, Scheurebe, Riesling, etc., Sylvaner. But I said, is there anybody around here that's making wine that is obviously not on your level because you're Sebastian Furst, but someone who you respect and you think is making great wine? Who? And he goes, oh yes, right down the block, Christoph Walter at Weingut Joseph Walter. And I'm like, okay, boom. Went and visited. And you have to understand the difference between Sebastian Furst is he's in the VDP, Walter is not. So Walter's wines are going to be less expensive. And obviously, they're not going to be as good as Furst, but man, they're a third of the price, and they are damn close. And he's got all the same juju, okay? He's got Hunsrück, which is like the top Pinot Noir vineyard in Germany. He's got St. Grafenberg. He makes Frühburgunder, which is this weird early ripening variant of Pinot Noir that's incredible in Bürgstadt. He makes killer Sylvaner, but he makes all this different Pinot, and he's like Martin Mullen, my guy in the Mosel. There was back vintages and back vintages and back vintages and back vintages, and he does no marketing. He's super shy. He barely sells outside Germany, and I was like, oh my God. I mean, I'll never forget that first tasting. He's super shy. He's sitting there with his legs crossed, just like pouring after. His English is not that great. And I'm like, oh my God, masterpiece after masterpiece after masterpiece. I mean, these wines are unbelievable. So I was so happy to get his wines. And we've sold his Frühburgunders from 05, 07, 09, 08. We've sold Pinot. He labels certain things Pinot and certain things Spätburgunder. There's a big difference. And I don't want to get into the details of that. But, basically we've sold stuff 06s, 05s, 07s, all different ages. So the only stuff that's mature over at Walter that I've sold is a 2005 vintage. I mean, these things are going for the long haul. It kind of reminds me of Furst as well. And I think in 2009 or 2008, he changed everything under screw cap, and the wines age beautifully. And maybe they even retain a little bit more youth, I would think, just from all the extensive tasting. But his wines, they're super earthy and super refined. I mean, these are, if you need to cross over a lover of Burgundy who's drinking the old school stuff, Walter is the perfect guy, because there is so much old school Burgundian love in these, but with that German nimbleness and freshness. There's a lot of leafiness to it. There's kind of like a Volnay, old school Volnay vibe to them, and they are just incredible. They age beautifully. His top wine is called Hunsrück. I have sold 11, 12, 13, and 14, and none of them are ready. The 11 is just starting, I would say. And I sell his Hunsrück for like 55 or something, and Sebastian Furst, if it ever comes to America, it'd be like 300. It never comes to America. It's too expensive. But it's an amazing, amazing vineyard. I mean, it's like it reminds me of something from the Chambertin family, Chambertin or Chapelle Chambertin or Latriciere, something like that. And then we moved on to Turla. which is in Solheim, which is in the Rheinhessen. They were our first Rheinhessen producer, and they are geniuses with oak. And their wines are incredibly complex. They are built to age. They have this beautiful limestone soil. They got one warm site, one warm site, which is called Probsty, one cool site, which is called the Hülle. But the Hülle is easily the top wine. It separated itself, I think, in 2015, and the prices are separated. And these wines are definitely more kind of on the Chambol Vosne tip, but they have that red Riesling thing, exceptional minerality, sweet fruit. They're so dramatic. They're so beautiful. And they also make this incredible Premier Cru that I sell for 23 or 24. People buy cases of it. It's unbelievable wine. The Solheimer Kalkstein, that's what it's called. And Turla is just incredibly successful. And we started off selling more Riesling than Pinot from them, and now we sell more Pinot than Riesling, which is a common thread. That happens with Sven Klunt, someone that I started with in year 2, and I sold his Castagny Bush Riesling, and then I noticed he made a Castagny Bush Pinot Noir. I tasted the 2014, just like the Honor Mole 2011s. Very, very good. Not quite there, but still very sellable, and people loved it, and it was beautiful. But then 15, boom, that's it. Huge success, new Pinot Star. Then 16, that's our red wine of the year, and it's probably one of the greatest false Pinots I've ever had. Boom. And we are completely selling 3-to-1 more Pinot than Riesling from someone that we discovered because we wanted to sell Riesling of his. And we still sell the Riesling, which is amazing, but his Pinots have taken off, Sven Klunt. But that's neither here nor there, because I still haven't talked about, like, the biggest coup that we have had in the second tier of our producers. Because the first tier, remember, Anderlein, Mol, and Mobut. That's what I started off with. Then I moved in with Walter and Turla, and number 3, Zierheitzen. Hans, Peter, and Edel Zierheitzen. You could arguably say they are the king and queen of German Pinot Noir. There's whole generations that look up to them, and they are just geniuses. Hans Peter is un-German-like in that he is so intense. He's like me, and he's talking. He's going 1,000,000 miles an hour. Amazing guy. And he makes all this different German Pinot. Maybe 5 or 6 cuvées, and people consider him, you know, the greatest living or making Pinot in Germany today. And I just drank his 2013 Jaspis Altaraben the other night. That's his top cuvée, oldest vines. Wow. I mean, and these wines are, compared to Walther and Turla, they are my most kind of, especially at the high end, more polished, more refined. There's just like beautiful silken structure to these wines. That's probably the number one thing. But then he makes like these 3 under 30 ones that are just outrageous. So much, 4 under 31s now, I think. So much fruit. There is just beautiful character to these. He's using, sometimes he's, and you know, and depending on the vintage, he's going to be doing a whole cluster, 50%, 100%, 20%, no percent. It really all depends. You know, he's changing things up constantly. He's definitely like one of these mad scientist, tinkerer type guys. And they age beautifully, and they really don't open up for 2, 3, 4, 5 days. I mean, the guy is a genius. His wines are amazing. Every price point is unbelievable. And the Pinots are red Riesling again, you know, but they definitely are Pinots. I find that the vintage is very important for these. Like the 15s are beasts, monsters. 14's refined and elegant. 13 is kind of a combo of 14 and 15, beastly and refined. And the 15s are refined too, but I have stored all my 15s in long storage. You know, the 14s I think are just wonderful, but these wines are beautiful. They are so silky. They are so nimble. They are, you know, I would say, shit, my computer is fucking up. Hold on. Sorry, this is the brilliance of YouTube videos. I can just do whatever, and it doesn't have to be rehearsed. So anyway, Zierheitzen, unbelievable. We're very happy with him, and the wines have taken off, and everybody loves them, and I'm super happy with them. You know, they make damn good asparagus as well, and also other red grapes. Though I mean, the one other red grape that they excel in is Syrah, and it's unbelievable. But the wines, the key to Zierweizen, you really need to age these things. I mean, with age comes the beauty. Or when you open them, drink them over 2, 3, 4 days, because no matter what the wine is, no matter what the level is, it's just they have so much going for them, especially over time. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. So we had a portfolio at this time, and then since then, you know, I've been looking for example, you know, I have one Zierweizen protege, Max Geitlinger, who is an absolute genius. He's making wine in the Zierweizen facility, and Hans Peter has taught him, but he's in Fürheim, which is a different area, and, you know, he's making brilliant Pinot Noir. I mean, 2 levels, a Spätburgunder and a Pinot, and these are just unbelievable. They have such